The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. John. 6 days before Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. They gave a dinner here for him there, and Martha served, while Lazarus was one of those reclining at table with him. Mary took a liter of costly perfumed oil made from genuine aromatic nard and anointed the feet of Jesus and dried them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the oil. Then Judas the Iscariot, one of his disciples, and the one who would betray him, said, "Why was this oil not sold for 300 days' wages and given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief and held the money bag and used to steal the contributions. So Jesus said, "Leave her alone. Let her keep this for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." The large crowd of the Jews found out that he was there and came not only because of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. And the chief priest plotted to kill Lazarus too, because many of the Jews were turning away and believing in Jesus because of him. The Gospel of the Lord. You know, the book of the prophet Isaiah is in 3 parts. First, second, and third Isaiah. And the whole point of the book of the prophet Isaiah is to recognize that the people have been stripped of everything that God has given them with regards to the promises of the land, and they are in exile. And they're in exile because they're sinful, because they've broken the law, because they're not faithful, because they've made promises that they did not keep, because over and over and over again they've done what they shouldn't do. Sound familiar? That's our human nature. But if you paid attention, God is doing something. And what he's doing is that he's restoring the people. And the reason that God is restoring the people is not because of their unfaithfulness, but because of his faithfulness. Because of the covenant. Because of the covenant that God has established. God said, "I'm going to do all these things." And God is faithful. And so it's easy for you and I to lose our focus when we hear about what is going on, that the chief priests and the scribes and all of the people are plotting to kill Jesus. And one of the things that you see in the scripture is that Peter and his buddies, they want to protect Jesus from being killed and from any kind of pain and suffering. And Jesus says, "Get behind me. You're not thinking the way God thinks. You're thinking the way the world thinks." And so we have to kind of step back a little bit and to recognize that we need to focus on what God is doing, not what the world is doing. And even though we see all of this stuff going on out there, God is restoring. God is making new. God is renewing. We have to refocus ourselves. That's what Lent is really all about. And so as we enter this Holy Week, let us be mindful. And I love this line that I read in the Office of Readings this morning, because we gave God the power to die by sharing our flesh with him, our human nature, through Mary's yes. Because we gave him the power to die, God gives us the power to live because he shares his Spirit with us. That's what God is doing. That's our focus. That's what's new.